Welcome to the Wayfinder's Path. I'm Chanel, and it's been a while since I've done a collective reading like this. I've been feeling called to do a poll on the subject of radical change, and we can apply that wherever it resonates in our life, but anywhere that we are feeling stuck, that we cannot continue to go on in the way that it has been, this reading is for you. We're going to be pulling for a few different energies today. You'll be able to pick which resonates with you. I'm going to be starting with a few cards for you to be able to choose which reading is for you or which pile is for you. And we're going to be reading with the Modern Witches Tarot because we need to be moving towards the future. And radical change is future-oriented and future-based, not by just looking at the past. We can be informed by our past, but our future is defined by what we do in the present. And that's what I want to address today. So we have all major arcana cards to start, which to me says that this is pivotal. You know, this is a timeless reading for the record as well. So you may come back at another time and find that some of these cards resonate at different periods in your life. Come back as needed to find out where you need radical change in your life. We have pile number 1. I have the High Priestess reversed. This is for people who are feeling disconnected from their sense of self, from their inner wisdom. And if you're feeling like you are stuck on your spiritual journey, your spiritual growth, your sense of soul and of self, if that's the area you think needs most radical change, the first pile is probably going to be for you. Second, we have Death reversed. This is for the people who are, change is upon you. Whether you want it or not, it's here, and you feel yourself not necessarily having control over where you're going. Change is happening, and if you are feeling resistant to take the leap, to take that step and to move forward, then this is probably going to be pile number 2 for you, with Death reversed. And then the World reversed. So this is similar to the Death card, but different in a few different ways. So the World reversed also has that reluctance to change, but this one is a reluctance to let an old cycle go in particular. This is that there might be a little bit more push that you have to do before you get to something and something that you want to go. So again, our 3 piles today are the High Priestess reversed, Death reversed, and the World reversed for radical change. I'm going to start with pile number 1 for the High Priestess. I'm going to set these aside for later. All right, pile number 1, High Priestess reverse. So these were my folks who have been feeling their sense of self has been impacted, their sense of spirituality, connection with the universe. This is more of an internal journey than an external journey. Now, you are really feeling this stuck feeling because your external world is not moving forward. There are external limitations. There's things like you feel tied in place. Externally, there's nowhere for you to go right now. And that's because you're not, the work that you need to do for radical change in your life, it's not an external journey. It's an internal one. It's a perception shift. It's seeing things from a different perspective. It's turning everything upside down so that you can look at it and go, I never saw it that way. I never thought about it that way. I do get a sense that if you want your external world to move forward, if you want opportunities to be showing up again, if you want to quit feeling limited and restricted, that you do need to go down this inner journey through the inner path and really reconnect to your sense of self, to your intuition, the universe, God, whatever you call it, whatever that extra thing is for you. And this really feels like that had you been so busy in your external world, had you been doing so much, had other things in your life been moving forward, you wouldn't have the opportunity to have this, like, kind of, feels a little grounded, feels a little bit like forced introspection. Like, the universe is saying, sit down and listen to yourself and quit listening to the outside world. This isn't a time to get information really from other people. This is a time to trust pretty much exclusively your own intuition, your own internal guidance system. The pause that you're feeling, again, right in the present, it's not meant to deter you. It's just simply meant to force your attention on your inner world and in your inner space. Five of Swords, reversed. So this card is a card that talks about victory, but at what cost? You could ignore what your intuition is trying to tell you. You absolutely could. But I think it would be not getting you ahead in a direction that you even want to go. Trying to move forward and trying to force things is only going to hurt the people around you. There's a really deep need to examine your own behavior here, because you might be moving forward in a way that's walking on other people, or that's unfairly using other people to get ahead. And I really feel like this is a, like, I get a selfishness out of this. Like, you've been trying to, which is kind of a double-edged sword, being that I told you, like, you need to move inward, right? But I feel like you've been trying to ignore this inner knowing, this inner intuition for so long, that you're doing anything you can in the external to push forward without doing the important inner work. You're not, like, addressing the internal, like, you're not addressing the inner workings. The engine isn't running right. And so if you don't handle that, you're going to be dripping oil all over the road. You know what I mean? And so I do feel like the best thing that you could do for yourself, for radical change in your life and in the world as a whole, is to do the inner work and quit avoiding it. What is your intuition begging for you? And it might be contradictory to the outside world. I dare say in this case, it probably is contradictory. You probably feel the pressure to fight against the restraints, to fight against all the things that are holding you in place. But at the end of the day, you don't need to fight those restraints at all. They're simply not going to go away until you address the inner breakdown. Now, I want to get, because this is a collective reading, but I want to get a little bit of insight on individuals. So not every bit of this next little bit is going to resonate for you. It's going to be specific to certain people. So if not every one of these cards that comes out next resonates with you, that's okay. But this is to get a little bit more clarity on the inner work that you specifically need to do. I have Justice first out. So these are people who are, I get a sense of, like, externally you've always been very by the book, but the rules of engagement aren't exactly fair. They're not just. The system may not be working to serve people, so you may feel a call to actually address injustices in the world. You may be looking to define what your inner sense of truth is, like what's actually true for you. I would recommend doing some journaling on the concept of truth, or some reflection on the concept of truth. Write down what you know is unequivocally true for you, no matter what. Not just what can be true under certain circumstances, like what are the core tenets of truth for you? What defines your experience? What defines who you are? And get really, really, really clear on the core truths and values for yourself. Like, is there balance? Also focusing on places where it's out of balance, where you don't have enough information. Like, what do you know? It's not about what you don't know right now. It's about what you do know. And if you can define and get into words, like I'm saying, like a few sentences here, can you, like, really pare down what is your truth? Like, if you had to say, if somebody asked you, what is your truth? What is the most honest thing for you? Define those things. And that will be your guiding, like, that will be your document that you can use to always fall back on. When you're trying to make a decision, you can look on that precedent that was set. This also may be for people who are dealing with legal battles or are trying to fight the system in some way. Focus on what's true, not what the law is, not what morality is, what's true for you is going to define and direct your personal direction more than anything else. The other card that came out, I have 10 of Swords. Some of you are just simply in the feels. You've been feeling betrayed. You've been feeling let down, left out. You've been feeling like you don't know who can trust. Also, it's worth mentioning in this particular card here, she's like doom scrolling. So there is some level of need to disconnect from technology because it is perpetuating wounding for you. This is not a time for you to necessarily worry about how you plug into other people. This is more of a go into the self. So time off of screens, time away from anything that's not facilitating an intuitive connection or a connection to that higher self. And that higher self can be what you want to be, not necessarily who you are today, but what you want to be is capable and exists already in this world. It just exists internally, and all things exist internally before they exist externally. I feel like we've got one more here. Bottom of the deck, okay? I'm going to go with that. Four of Cups reversed. Some of you are, I think you can't see it because this light, but some of you are really focusing on what's not working, to the detriment of something that's new coming in, that's trying to reach you right now. Like the Four of Cups, like the Ace of Cups is embodied within the Four of Cups. So there's this new opportunity coming. Like, I can't see my hand right now. It's here. I just can't see it. The opportunity you're looking for could be so close. But it does require that perspective shift, that hangman energy again, which is instead of looking at the thing that isn't working, the more you're focusing on what isn't working, the more you're actually feeding into that. And it's time to focus and look up for positive expectation, turning away from the things that aren't working for you. Not in a to ignore them, but in a way to focus your attention on the new things that are coming in. Because if you're constantly focused on what isn't working, there's no way that you're going to be able to, you could miss that opportunity too. For record, this is a bit time sensitive, like that you need to do this now before an opportunity or something you care about. That window is small. And so there is a little sense of urgency here, like getting defined, understanding who you are, letting those perspective shifts happen. What is trying to bring your attention? What is calling to you that isn't negative? What positive is calling for you right now? You need to take that and pivot and shift. And I feel like we're going to go with one more conclusion card for this pile before moving on. Closing your marks for pile 1. The Eight of Cups. It is time to shed the old that is not working. It is time to Marie Kondo your life. Let it go if it does not spark joy. There isn't like the weight. You could carry the weight of this big heavy pack and that'll weigh you down. You need to be lighter of spirit right now. And it's less about your possessions. It's less about the 3D world. This is all about your energetic space. What can you release in order to create lightness, to create freedom, to create liberation, I'd even say. The Eight of Cups is a card that shows somebody like walking away from something that does not serve them anymore in order to go find adventure, to travel abroad for some of you. It's like there's a need to get out of your already known little bubble because there's a lot of things that are existing in your life and taking up your energy and your space that are not satisfying you. And what they're doing is they're actually blocking you from where you want to go. It's making you not the best version of yourself. And so there is this kind of purging what isn't here, what ain't it, in order to move towards what is with a lighter sense of spirit, because we need that spirit and you need that spirit in order to move forward. And having less, letting go of things, not letting things that aren't serving you block you, is going to create the most radical change available to you and for the collective as a whole. Thanks, pile 1, and we'll catch you next time. Now I'm going to move on to pile 2. I am going to stick with the same deck today, but I feel called to just pull out whichever card isn't being used right now. All right, pile number 2. We have Death reversed. Let me give this a good shuffle. Pile 2, you are the cards who are, you're really resistant to a change in dynamic in your life. There's maybe a power change happening, like maybe you were on top and you're reluctant to let that go in some way, or some of you need to step into your power. But because the Death card, which I think does itself a disservice by just being called death, it really should be called death and rebirth. Because on the other side of change, it's the change that you've been asking for. So if you're dissatisfied, again, this reading is about radical change. I mean, the fact that Death card came out, like, the tarot can be very literal. Now, the Death card is ready to usher in this change, but what's blocking you? Because something you're cock blocking your own change here. Three of Pentacles. So this card is a card of study, of learning. It's known as the Apprentice. And you are afraid to go back to the beginning. You are afraid to start over from scratch. You are afraid to be new at something. But remember, if you want to change, if you want to find like that shift in the world, like, you're gonna have to start somewhere. You're gonna have to build something new, and nothing is built overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. It also doesn't last forever. Just saying. Empires fall and all. So it doesn't matter how secure or how strong something was. It doesn't matter how long this thing has been. If you are being pushed to change, but you're not doing it because you're gonna have to take a step back, you're cock blocking yourself. You're going to have to learn these new skills. You're going to have to be new. You're going to have to go in an entry-level position, possibly, for a little while. Like, if you're trying to change industries, don't think that you're going to be at the top right away. It just doesn't simply work that way. There is this need to go back and be teachable, to learn. There also could be mentors or people in your life that you could be working with who could be helping you on this journey. But if you're trying to be independent in a way that doesn't let you be teachable and be learnable, you could find a lot of blockages there. Five of Wands reversed. Some of you are fighting battles that are not for you. Not your circus, not your monkeys. Why are you putting, you're someone who's so willing to put in energy into things. Like, that's what's crazy about this energy is these people that wanted Pile 2, you're so ready to jump into the fray. You'll do it for others. You tell other people it's okay to be teachable. You'll even teach others. You'll share your expertise to others, no problem. But for some reason, you're never really, I get that you're not willing to turn that on its head and be the receiver in that case. I just feel like you're really fighting a losing battle. The more effort you're putting to this thing that is already dying, every bit of that is wasted effort. And I'm really sorry if that feels harsh, but like, the Five of Wands reverse says you're fighting battles that aren't for you. They're other people's problems. They're not your problem. Quit trying to solve everybody else's problems. Quit trying to jump in a fight that's not yours. Some fights are yours, and those are the place where you need to put time, energy, and attention. Like, you need to kind of put your own life vest on first, your own oxygen mask here. Why are you putting out so much conflict? There's a lot of conflict around you, and I am sorry about that. And I know that you feel called to be a part of this conflict. But if you really want to create radical change, you need to start learning something for yourself, going back to the beginning, putting in that effort in those early stages for yourself. Because otherwise, the thing you want, it's not going to manifest if you don't put the effort in. Because Five of Wands talks about misaligned conflict, like putting energy into a conflict that doesn't serve you, putting energy into a fight that doesn't serve you. There are some fights that serve us, and there are some fights that don't. Mars is in Aries at the time of the filming of this video, so this may not be relevant if you find this much later, but, conflict is up. As we're seeing in the world, there's wars, there's all these things happening, and this card is saying that it's time to lay down your arms and quit trying to fight to save something that is unfortunately terminal. It's a lost cause. There is something that's got to go, and I know you care about it, and I know you want it, because that's why you're putting in that effort, but there is a better way. But it does require you to step back and possibly, double back and take a different route. There is something that is, it's just you're beating a dead horse, and all you're doing is draining your resources and draining your energy that could be applied somewhere else more useful at this time. Now we're going to go and we're going to pull a couple of individual energies. So obviously this is a collective reading, but these cards, not every bit of this next line is going to resonate for each person. This is just to get into a little bit more specific. So take the parts of this that resonate and leave what doesn't. Ten of Wands. I mean, I'm really getting career stuff for some of you here right off the bat. Ten of Wands, like you're working really, 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 really hard. And you might even be in this like last push energy. This does feel like something you're putting a lot of your time, energy, and effort into. Some of you, like, it's going to come to this natural conclusion point. Like, this is your last push. This is the last of the energy I want you to put into this. Like, put in the energy that's necessary, reap the harvest, and then get out. Because after you get what you get out of it, like once you've harvested, once you've gotten all the good you can of an opportunity, it's not coming back and it's not going to regrow. So I do get that there's like diminishing returns after a certain point for some of you. This is so like if you've got to put in this last hoorah of effort to close out a cycle for yourself to let this happen, do it. But don't expect after you get that one achievement that it's, if you came in to accomplish something and you accomplished that goal, it's done. There's no more. Like this is not an opportunity that's going to come back around in the same way. It is going to come back around in a different way and be relevant to your life. So this could be like, say you wanted to, if this is relating to you in career, for example, this would be like someone who had to achieve a certain thing. Like I needed to be in this position for a year to have this experience to get another job. Or I needed to just get this one thing on my resume. And now that you have it, it's going to open up a door in a different direction. You probably won't come back to that same job. But Ten of Wands is the energy of the harvest. So make sure that you don't, like, you're not out there toiling and tilling the soil of a field with nothing that's growing in it. There is going to be a chance to plant new seeds elsewhere next season. But this season is all about just wrap it up. If you got to put that one last hurrah to get the project done, but let it happen. Don't fight it. Just get it done and move on. Seven of Swords. Some of you need to work smarter, not harder. Seven of Swords can also talk about deception, betrayal. Things aren't what they seem. What you see on the surface and what's actually going on are not the same thing. So some of you, especially if you're in like a work job, this could be like a quiet quitting energy. This could be again, like working smarter, not harder. You don't have to go around. You can just cut through. It is upright, so I actually think I would dare even say, like, this isn't a time where, like, the accountability on that I'm too worried about. Like, don't do it by the book. Do it differently. Do it unconventionally. Do what's right for you to be able to put in as least amount of effort to get the results that you want. This is also a time about disarming problems, because the Seven of Swords, traditionally shows somebody, like, sneaking into the enemy camp and, like, taking all the swords and disarming the problem. Disarm the problem. Like, if you can nip a problem in the bud before it ever becomes a problem because you simply just didn't engage with it, or there's a really smart small move you can make that's going to make all the difference. So this is definitely like Pareto principle, doing 20% of the results get 20% of the effort gets 80% of the results, versus 80% of the effort gets 20% of the results. We see this in like management. They reap all the benefits while the laborers do all the work. So what can you do to do less work and get the same results? How can you be more efficient? How can you stop problems before they become bigger? This is also a note for some people. If there's something that you need to do now, like preventative maintenance kind of an energy here, like do the thing before it becomes a problem. Pay the bill on time so that you don't get the late fee later. Like the problem is going to get bigger, not better. So I think that there is this need, again, to like really refine how you're doing things and nip things in the bud before they become bigger issues. And also, don't expect people to be super honest with you right now. Like, you don't have to be super honest right now. Like, you don't have to tell them you're not putting in 8 hours a day if you're getting your work done. You know what I mean? Like, work smarter, not harder. Don't overcomplicate it for yourself. If you see a solution to a problem that hasn't happened yet, but if you just handle it now, this also feels like a sense of urgency. All of these cards are getting a bit of a sense of urgency, if I'm honest with you. Like there is this preventative issue, like do the thing behind the scenes that nobody else sees. Maybe you are working like behind the scenes and you don't really get appreciated for that work, but think about how important it is overall. But there is definitely this need to like disarm the situation or make it less of a problem now, doing less. And it might be something that is a little on the sneaky end. I'm not going to lie with that energy, but it says to do that. Like working smarter, not harder is supported. The last one. Page of Swords reversed. This is analysis paralysis. This is overthinking. This is monkey mind. Like, I just get like that indecision, or if like you're somebody with ADHD, for example, that whole like you get stuck in the same. It's that. And so this is like your brain is just overwhelmed with information all at once, information overload. So whatever you can do to like minimize and refine and like clear out your mind, I would definitely recommend a brain dump for this particular energy here. Like write down all the things you got to do so you don't forget about them. The more you can get it out of your head and into something you can wrap your brain around, the better. But it's also keeping in mind that because you're thinking so much, because you're like going, you might be going in circles. It might not be very productive. There is more information out there that you need, but the information that exists already is clouding it. So whatever you can do to calm your mind, soothe your mind. I know saying to meditate when your mind's running a million miles an hour is not really productive, but what can you do? Like, is there something in your life that calms your brain? Like, think about the last time that you were like, oh, it's just quiet in here and there's not a lot going on. What were you doing? Pay attention to that. Do more of that. The more you can quiet your mind, the more you can hear your intuition. But your cyclic thoughts, your overactive mind, which is your cerebral, because swords represent the air element, our mind, our willpower, things like that. It feels a little distracted. And finding something that's going to help you be an outlet for all of that energy, finding some place to put that down. That's why things like journaling or writing is really productive, because it gets it out and it gives it somewhere else to exist. And I find with monkey mind a lot of the times that like once the thought's acknowledged and heard, it sometimes doesn't need to be heard again. The persistent ones will say, and then you can handle those as you go. But it's just decluttering. And so anything you can do that gives you that peace of mind, maybe literally decluttering too. Like if your space is chaotic, so your brain is chaotic, it might be a good time to clear out and like chill on in your space so that you can promote a little bit more mindfulness and a little bit more grounded and thoughtfulness. Now I'm going to do one last just closing remarks for pile 2. I have the Knight of Pentacles, and this is a card that says slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to do everything overnight, and in fact, these solutions that you're looking for are not going to happen overnight. They're going to happen with concentrated effort over time, taking the right move at the right moment. The Knight of Pentacles sits back and observes before taking action. They are the opposite of impulsive. So watch out for impulsivity. Also, having patience and groundedness. The Knights have not yet mastered their element. The Knight has like they're learning and they're taking in new information. So kind of doubling back on that 3 of Pentacles card, like you're in a learning curve and it's going to take time to get where you want. This change is not a short term. It is radical change for your life in the long run, but it is more of a long game. This particular pile, I need you to have grace and patience, and I need you to show up consistently. And I also need you to be very, very aware of where your energy and your intention and your thoughts are going, because where those things are focusing is what's growing. So choose carefully what you want to grow in your life. And don't be making half-hearted decisions. Like, this is a time to really think, excuse me, to really think through and then take grounded, thoughtful action. Don't watch out for those, especially that resonate with that Page of Swords energy, that monkey mind. Like, don't take action based on your first thought. Sorry about that, the recording cut off. But take that concentrated effort that is over time going to build. It's a little bit every day, adds up to a lot over time. So don't discount that. And don't think that because you don't see immediate results that you're not on the right track. All right, pile number 2, I'm going to leave you there, and we're going to move on to pile number 3. Hello, pile number 3. I am just shuffling these cards back in from pile 2, and we're going to be getting into your reading, which this is for those of you who chose the World reversed. All right, these are those extra cards that we already pulled today. So the World reversed is a reluctance to end a chapter. Not just, actually, I'm not going to say chapter, a book. There is a whole storyline that is coming to a close for you. You want radical change? It's time to move on to the next story. The old story is about to be finished. Now, there might be a little bit of energy left here because the World reverse can be like, it's not quite finished yet. Like you're almost there. There's a little bit more to push. But the World also, I feel like, is a little literal in this case. Like, you're concerned on the bigger world stage. This isn't just you. You know that there's this like push for change in the world as a whole. And this card is, it represents victory and the completion and the end. It's the last card in the major arcana. And so for this World, I just feel like we haven't won yet. You can't give up yet. There's just a little bit more to go. There might be a little reluctance, again, around a closing of a cycle. You might have your own things you're purging and releasing. But like this is, it could be in climax energy right now, and then we have just like the falling resolution. But I also just really get like, there's a little bit more to go. This isn't the end yet. Very interesting. So the Death card came out, and as well, which is, like I said before, is very similar but different. But you guys got the same thing in the present. You want to change the world? Change yourself. Change your learning. Change what you're experiencing. I want you to pick something new, a new area of study, something you want to learn, something you didn't know much about. And maybe it's something that's reaching you in the collective right now, something about the world that you didn't know. There's something that you're supposed to know about our history, about where we've been, about current events, about what's happening. There is knowledge here. Also that there is a mentor available for you as well. That like there's someone here who can teach you. There are people who know better than you. And it's time to focus on like collective knowledge that's out there and available to you. And they want me to say something that this one's for artists in particular, like the way that artists show up in the world. So fascinating that we get all the same cards, but this one is different. So I had the Page of Swords reversed in the Death in pile number 2. So if you felt called to both piles 2 and 3, wouldn't be surprised. They're very, very similar. We have Page of Swords, upright though. So those of you that felt more called to pile number 3, some of your ideas right now, they are radical. And I think that you don't know how to implement them. So it's interesting that I feel like there's this like learning from other people's perspectives in order to take your ideas and birth them in a way that is best for the whole, for the collective. I think pile number 2 was talking a little bit more about the individual and the self, whereas this one's more about collective victory towards a better world for everybody here on the planet. And the Page of Swords says you have ideas. You have some thoughts that are really quite radical, maybe thoughts that are original to you that nobody ever told you, but there is also, by having the knowledge of others, you are going to be able to birth these radical ideas. You're coming up with this. These are, you kind of have a little bit of a visionary mindset here. Like, I really see that some of these ideas that are in your head, they're important. And there's going to be a time and a place to birth these ideas that are radical and can actually change the world. But I think you're still in the learning phase right now. Like, you may not have a ton of those ideas yet, or really haven't fleshed those ideas out just yet. But there is this, like, you're learning really important things right now. And what you're learning now is going to set the foundation for what you create. And you're going to be an innovator. You're going to be someone who, like, literally invents something new, or comes up with this new radical idea, or a business structure, or like ideas that can change the world. So I want you to be such a sponge right now for all the things you could be learning, because all of those are going to collectively come together. People in pile 3 here are going to be some of the people who very publicly change the world. So this is radical change for not just the self, but for the collective of all humanity and human knowledge. Some of you are going to invent new technology that changes the world. Some of you are going to bring about new ideas that change your industries, that change how businesses are run, that change how we do things in this world. So you're learning, and I would even say this is student energy again. Like I think both piles 2 and 3 are talking to students and people in learning positions. So keep fucking going, keep learning, keep absorbing, be that sponge, use your brain, use your mind, because it's so valuable and it's so important to what's going to come. We're not done yet. Keep fucking going. Like, there is still something worth changing. Like, there is a whole chapter of history that we're going to be able to change out, and we're going to be able to get rid of that, like things that no longer serve us. But we're not there yet. So you can't give up. You have to keep pushing. Even if you're just at the beginning, you have to keep going. There's learning and there's knowledge. Let me get some more specifics now for the individual. So not all of these things are going to resonate for you. Take the next couple of cards as they resonate. And this is going to dial down to get a little bit more specific for some people. I have Page of Pentacles, so another one of these Page of Swords. And this is about treating sustainability, is what I'm getting off of this right away. It's like creating stability. And what is stability? Is something that we can lean on and use for a really long time. I see people here, some of you are going to be starting new sustainable business or new practices that can help create sustainable economies. It's really cool. Actually, let me show you. So hopefully you can see it. She's standing, like there's this city in the back, and she's standing in these green spaces and thinking, how can I preserve these? How can I save these? Some of you are environmental, I want to say environmental activists is what keeps coming to mind, but like I can see environmental companies, new environmental technologies, things like that. What can you do to provide a more stable environment for all of us? And that you're learning that, and you're figuring it out right now with the thing that you do that changes the world down the road. So much like learning expansion energy. And I got chills talking about this pile. Like in all beginning pages are all such a, like being at the beginning. You haven't mastered it. You're just becoming aware. Is that, no? Not that one. That one. Ace of Swords reversed. Another beginnings card. Ace of Swords reversed is a card that says, like, there is this need for a new beginning, but you haven't, not yet. Hold off. Don't put the cart before the horse, because the Ace of Swords says, I'm going to lead you to victory. I have this idea, and I'm going to go for it. That idea is not formed yet. You don't have a clear trajectory just yet. Like, there's not a super clear course of action to jump in on this just yet. The idea has not exactly presented itself yet. So you may have radical ideas, but they haven't fully formed. So continue to expand your mind. Continue to explore these ideas. They're going to they're going to mature with time. They're going to get better with age. So don't feel compelled, like move in that direction if you feel really compelled to, but your truth now is likely to evolve. So keep in mind, you'd be operating from your truth that you have now. That may not serve you super far in the really long run. Your truth is evolving. You don't have all the information just yet, but that idea, there's gonna be this like eureka aha moment. It's funny, as I was actually watching this documentary from the History Channel last night about like big inventions that change things, and the eureka moment where that came from, he came up with what was considered to be this like radical involved technology, and it came in a moment of inspiration. And just because you don't have that moment of inspiration just yet, I want you to hold off. I want you to keep absorbing that information. I want you to keep learning. I want you to keep exploring these ideas that are coming to you. you're gonna have a eureka moment where all of a sudden it just clicks into place, and you know what you're gonna do, and you know what you're gonna do to change the world, and you're gonna do it. Five of Pentacles. Some of you are just really struggling right now. Like you don't feel like you have the support. You feel like you're left out in the cold, that you're alone, that nobody else sees what you see as far as where the world's going, what's happening. Like you feel alone, but I want you to know that you're not. You're not the only one who thinks the way that you think. You're not the only one who is experiencing struggle and hardship. You're not alone, or maybe you have one friend who gets it and it seems like nobody else does, but there is, you can see it here, these two people out, literally out in the cold, but there's this warm, secure, stable thing so close. Just because you don't currently have support around you does not mean that there are not people who will support you. Find new communities, find new networks, ask for help. Like if you need help right now to make ends meet, if you are financially struggling, I want you to know that like that, stabilizing that, thinking that this is going to be the way it is forever, it's not. There is community support for you. There are people in your life who will uplift and support, but you do have to look up. You can't just be focused on your own suffering, because you're gonna, like, you won't know how to find that support if all you do is look. Again, it could be right there. It could be right next to you and you couldn't even see it because you're so focused on what's not working. And it's valid, and I want you to know I'm here for support. I'm here if you need it, and the Five of Pentacles, like if you're struggling financially, keep that could be one of the things that's making it hard, but that change is available to you. But don't let your pride get in the way. Ask for help, ask for support. Find people who think like you. Find other people who are trying to do what you're trying to do, because I guarantee you they're looking for you too. And you're not the only one out there. You're not struggling. You might be struggling alone right now, but you don't have to. There are communities, there are people who are here and available to help you, but you do have to be willing to look for them and accept that help. Like don't think it's just you. There are organizations, there are things that and means that can help what you're trying to accomplish and get you where you need to go right now. I'm going to pull one more for closing remarks for all of pile 3. King of Pentacles reversed. Not all things happen all at once. There are things that are not grounded and are not rooted yet. Things are, if you want it to be long-term stability, which is what this card represents, upright, is a really stable career. Like nothing is stable, but in that nothing's stable, everything's possible. We're in an immense time of change, and having that ability to go with it. You might have been uprooted. You might feel like you don't have any ground to stand on right now, but you can. That is focus on grounding, making sure that you're secure, making sure that you're okay, like getting those things working for you, focusing on your own stability and your being grounded in yourself, feeling secure in your body. Any kind of root chakra work, things like that are very, very needed. But also a willingness to confront any outdated ideas, because this card, and when it's reversed, when King of Pentacles reversed, it can be stubborn to a point of fault, right? Because if we never change, if we never evolve, if you want radical change, you have to change, So don't think that who you are now is who you're going to be. Be malleable. And I'm seeing like a tumbleweed, because I often think of this card as like, because it's really grounded and rooted when it's upright and it's in its power. But that also means that tree can't move, and it's like, I'm seeing like a tumbleweed, like you might have to go with it in order to get somewhere else. But this uprooting that you're experiencing right now, anything that feels like there's a lack of stability, like it is actually it's because you're not where you're supposed to put down roots yet. It's a need to hold your ground, but also to be flexible and evolving and changing. Don't think that you have to stay the same, because if you want radical change, I guarantee you're not going to stay the same. You're going to change. So if you're unwilling to change, you're not going to see change. If you can't see change in yourself, you're not going to see change in others. So start internally, start on what you can do, because there are some radically evolving ideas that are forming in your mind right now that are going to change the world, but they're not there yet. There is more development to this story. There is more personal development that you need to do to get to where you're going. So keep going. You're on the right path. Just don't give up. And just because you don't have the aha moment yet, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen in 6 months, it could happen in a couple of years, and it could change the world. There are technology developments that happened thousands of years ago that we still use today because somebody had this brilliant moment. One moment that changes all of history. So don't think that everything that you're doing now isn't leading up to one moment for you or one key moment, at least for some of you. But there is also this focus on being adaptable and finding stability even when times are changing, even through change. Can you be grounded even through all of that? And then you can build once you're in the right place. If you can't build right now, it's because you're simply not in the right place. And that's okay. You can be on the right path to get to the right place. Overall, I feel like if this pile number 3 wants to bring about their brilliance, be teachable, be learnable, be malleable, be evolving right now. Don't try to stay the same if you want to find radical change. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to do one closing remark for all 3 piles before we go. And I'm going to grab a different deck, I think, for that. Let's see. I am being called to the Lantern Oracle. So I'm going to make a bit of noise to pull this out. Ooh, actually I'm wrong. It is not the Lantern Oracle. It's the one that is below it. And here I have Enchanted Blossoms, which is an oracle deck that talks about butterflies and flowers. So obviously butterflies are a symbol of transformation, and flowers are a symbol of growth. I'm going to read the book on this one, though, because I really like oracle decks and their messages as is. So final card for all 3 piles, if you've still stuck with me here. Ooh. Just kidding. We have major closing remarks. And I'm going to read them all because that's what the cards want. And these are areas it looks like we all have work to do on a little bit. I have compassion, faith, hope, and peace. If that doesn't hit the nose or the point on the nose, I don't know what does. Compassion. The flower is elderflower. Butterfly is the large blue. With its small white flowers blossoming into bunches of plump berries, elderflower has been featured in folklore from ancient times to our modern legends. Many traditions link elder trees to protection and spirits. As for modern myth, the most powerful wand in the Harry Potter series was a wand made from the elder tree. Domestically, the berries are used in many foods and drinks such as cordials and fruit pies. Compassion is one of the strongest and most complex of human emotions. Through compassion, we not only feel and understand the feelings and hurts of others, but we may choose to accept those feelings and help relieve this pain. This card is a reminder to breathe and have sympathy for yourself and the situation. Do not be too hard on the way that you think, you feel, or your outward goals. All things take time, and sometimes we need space to heal before we can reach our goals. Empathy moves us to listen to the others to see if we can offer kindness to those in need. We may not agree with every view or idea people express, but we can show compassion while holding our own views sacred. Some journaling questions for yourself would be, how can I share more of myself, or how can I show more compassion and understanding, and who needs my compassion today? I have faith. The flower is the passion flower, and butterfly is the Gulf fritillary. Natively most of Central and South America and in Mexico, this vine is cultivated for its unique flower as well as its fruit. During the Victorian era, the flower was highly prized and creating hybrids was a popular hobby. The passion flower is a symbol of the gods and prophets across several cultures. In Christianity, the flower is tied to the passion of Christ. In India, it symbolizes the struggle between the five Pandava brothers and their fight against the army of 100. Krishna is the center that holds them together, and the blue of the bloom reflects his aura. Also, for those of you who did the monkey mind pile, passion flower helps reduce monkey mind. You can take it as a supplement. Trust not only in a higher power, if that is your choice, but on yourself and on your tribe. Believe in your abilities and your futures. Life can be painful, and sometimes faith is the only thing that keeps you going and standing upright. Conviction can be an extremely powerful force in your heart, mind, and life, and your assurance can be a beacon when no other light can be seen. When all else fails, be true to yourself, your vision, and your faith. Some questions. What do I have faith in above all else? Pile 1, I'm looking at you. How can I have more faith in myself? Next, we have hope. The flower is hawthorn, and the butterfly is the black-veined white. Native to Europe, Northwest Africa, and Western Asia, hawthorn is as widespread as the folklore that surrounds it. Sacred to the fairy folk and a symbol of hope, it is considered ill luck to cut branches or pluck flowers from a hawthorn, as it upsets the fairies living in the tree. Despite this, both the flowers and berries were used in jellies and wines. Hawthorn flowers were used in Greek weddings and as vampire stakes by the people of Serbia and Croatia. Current studies are looking at hawthorn's use in treating chronic heart failure and cardiovascular disease. No matter how dark your path might get, hope will get you through. Hope is knowing the challenges you are working through will resolve for the greater good, and all the difficulties that you face will be worth it. Hope is the light at the end of the tunnel and the reason we keep doing what we do. Hope inspires action, and sometimes it may be the only thing that keeps you moving. Trust that the universe wants you to be happy and to work towards your joys, even in the worst of times. Hold the knowledge in your heart that you will reach your goal and the world will be better for it. And last, we have peace. The flower is olive, and the butterfly is the southern kama. Olives have been growing for at least 20 million years. Most famously cultivated by the Greeks, humankind has been using olives as a food source since the Bronze Era. The oil is used in cooking, beauty products, and as fuel. In one of the earliest written records of the olive, it is depicted as a symbol of peace in a Greek myth about Athena and Poseidon. In a fight over Athens, Poseidon thrusts his spear into the ground and creates a well of sea water and claims it for himself. Athena responds by planting an olive tree near that well. The gods deemed her gift the more significant, and thus Athena peacefully made her claim on the land. Since then, olive branches have been used as symbols of peace in biblical stories, myths, and legends from many cultures. This card invites you to seek out inner peace for yourself. Be content with who you are amidst whatever is going on in the world around you. It is not a time to fight the waves of life, but to accept them and let them run their course. With stillness in your heart, you can weather any storm and be calm in the heat of the moment. Inner calm is a path you should attempt to walk in all aspects of your life. It is not a destination or attainment, but a living process, like a garden deep within that must be tended. Quieting your mind, letting go of distractions, being truthful in your word, and accepting who you are steps to path to inner peace. In what ways can you seek peace, and how can you bring peace to others? I'm going to leave it there. I hope that these readings have been helpful, insightful for you, and can foster radical change in yourself and in the world around you. Have a good day.